Okay, now to assemble just one hose for the kit, you're going to need a 25-foot hose. The reason why I went with two 25-foot hoses versus just one 50-foot hose is I get 4 of these connections in total, which when you're connecting the air chucks, then I don't have to worry about building another end for these. So I would just get the 2 of these 25-foot hoses versus 150. Just save yourself some time having to build another male connector for the other hose. So you're going to need 25-foot or 2 25-foot hoses. You're going to need 4 of these air chucks. So I got these air chucks on Amazon. They're Haltech. They have 3 grapples on it to grab a hold of the valve stem. So versus some of the Euro style clip-on ones that just have the one, these have 3, so they're pretty solid. So you just stick it on the valve, and then it's kind of hard to do this with one hand. Push forward on it, and then it's locked on. So 4 of those in total, and then you'll need 1 male thread connector. So this will go into the hose, and then this will attach to that. You'll need some 4 clamps per hose. You'll need a 9/16 wrench, a 5/8 wrench, and then some wire cutters just to cut through the hose. And then this is just some soapy water just to dip my hand in. It helps out getting these inside the hoses. And then a tape measure to measure the hoses, and then some Teflon tape, and then a screwdriver just to tie on the clamps. And for the manifold, so the manifold, when I first purchased the manifold, it was a 3-way manifold, and I got most of these parts at I think what was it, Home Depot. So everything was purchased at Home Depot minus the hose. I think the hose I got at Harbor Freight. A little bit cheaper than Lowe's, but they're good for -30 Fahrenheit up to 150 degrees. So they're durable. So good for the cold weather if that's what you need. So for my manifold, I took off this top coupler, put my gauge in there. Got this on Amazon. I think it's a $12 pressure gauge. So it's nice. It's got a light on the back. So if you're at night, you need some extra light, then it's got a light on it. So kind of a cool feature. And then you will need a ball valve just to control the airflow in it. It does work either direction. So down will be open, left or right will be closed. And then you will need another male attachment, at least for my setup. Kind of depends on how you guys are going to set yours up, but for mine I have another male connection, and then I will have a quick detach on here that will go to my Viair compressor. And the reason why I went with this manifold is like $17. This was honestly probably the most expensive part of the whole project. It was like 17-18 bucks. So I bought it just because of the quick detach on it. So if I only need to do the front or the rear tires, then I only have to plug in that side. I don't have to. I've seen some that are this would be taken out and then this piece would be screwed into the manifold, so you have no choice but to have both hoses connected. I didn't want that, so I'm using this quick detach. It came with 3. I only had the 2 on there, but that's the reason why I went with this setup versus some of the other ones I've seen. Okay, so for the first length of hose I'm going to be cutting, I'm just going to do a 12-foot. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut the camera because I can't hold the camera and cut this at the same time. So I'm just going to measure out 12 feet, get this cut, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so I got the first 12-foot section cut out, and so this is a lesson learned from the first hose that I made earlier today. Make sure you put these clamps on before you attach the fitting, otherwise you'll be pulling like crazy trying to get this stupid thing off so you can get the clamp on. So always put the clamp on. I'm sure you guys will probably mess up, hopefully like I did, but hopefully not. So put this clamp fitting in, and something that's going to help out a lot is that when you're putting it in, try to have the hose coiled up. That way you can orient the T down, because if you have Once that thing's in there, it's snug. It's not going to twist very easily. Even with some soapy water, it's not going to move that well. So if you have it up like this, once it's in there, then the hose that's going to go to your front tire is going to be up, and it's going to be inconvenient. So this is somewhat flush. Could have been better, but somewhat flush. So this, just so when it's all coiled up, it's nice and flat. It's not, you're gonna have that one crazy wire sticking up and kind of going down. So when you're putting it in, try to keep the hose coiled up so you can get it. You can get this T laying down flat. So all the hoses lay down nice and coiled, nice and flat. Okay, so I got the first half of the T put in. So the next T that I put in, I'm gonna use this end, and I'm gonna measure 3 feet from this other end of the hose, because this is going to be connecting to the front tire or the rear, however you have your setup. So make sure you measure 3 feet from the other end that you cut off earlier. Okay, so I got the next T connection done, so this will be the one that goes to the front tire. So this was complete, so I'm going to show you next how to attach I'll get the air chucks attached. So for the air chucks, you're going to need the air chuck, and you're going to need your Teflon tape. So you're just going to put the Teflon around the thread, and then you're just going to screw one on each of these ends, and then you'll have the air chucks done for the hose. Okay, so I got the 2 air chucks attached to the end of the hose. So the next piece we'll be working on is going to be the hose that will connect to the manifold. So for this step, you're going to need the 1/4 inch male adapter, and then you're also going to need the threaded adapter for the end that will go into the manifold. Okay, so I got the last part of the hose completed, so now I've got the male adapter. So now I can just grab this, get that locked in, and now I have both my 25-foot hoses. I've got the air chucks on both sides for the front and rear. And then all you need is just another hose that's going to go to your compressor or CO2. So I haven't tested the system on CO2. Not sure how this gauge will do just with the cold air, but I have used it with the Viair 400p compressor, and it worked just fine. Should be fine for up to 35-inch tires, I believe, with the 400p. CO2, yeah, we won't have any issues. Just temperature-wise, I would say if you're going to use CO2, just have a longer hose. Yeah, or maybe a different gauge. I'm not sure how the gauge would hold up with the compressed air.